Oh,
You
not
stay up
used
really
to it.
late. I know, don't you stay up pretty late?
I've been trying to get back on a regular sleep schedule, so I
Huh?
actually woke up for this.
Wow. Wow.
I
That's
know.
exciting.
Turning
Uh,
over a new leaf.
there you go. Look at that.
Wow.
Um, so can you see my email?
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
can.
Okay, good. So, able to find the issues with NA, the best way to solve that problem. Okay. So, this was the comment that you made previously about how the item master and new sales data report, you still couldn't like figure out what was wrong because the names looked exactly the same and it was still showing an error,
Right.
right? And so I understand exactly what was going on, I think. And just because it looks the same doesn't mean there's not a funky space or something in there that we can't really see, obviously. And so I just always assume if it's erroring out and I find the right item, then I just take the item master and my new sales report. The new sales report is how I want the words to go. So actually, let me just pull up the new sales report.
Right, because then it's fixed going forward.
Exactly. So I take the new sales report title, I copy it, and then I find the actual product, which would be in column H, and I just paste it right in there. And then the piece of this, I don't think we've really spent time on the item master itself, just how to update this part. But part of how the item master works is, let me freeze panes at top. So these first several columns, Jacob puts all of the information in. Jacob's the one that manages the item master. And then when we get all the way over to AB, it says it's a lookup.
Right.
And so it's automatically looking up from the item master, like picking the pieces of it once. And then what I do, and I don't know if it's in these instructions or if we've talked about it, but you need to copy the entire lookup and paste special to the next column. And then I just add the 2 here. What that does is if you went in and changed up names or had to fix a dash or a space, it will fix everywhere except for right here in this column because it's a hard-coded column. And this is the column when we're actually doing the lookup, we're making sure it matches here.
Okay,
So
because I actually did do the copy and paste over it, even though it looked identical, and it didn't seem to do anything. So I may have forgotten to do the lookup. Yeah.
exactly, so I was either one or the 2 things. You didn't copy paste, but if you think you did that, then it was probably that you then have to go. So sometimes when it's one, like I do that at the very beginning, I copy and paste over here. And then if I'm finding ones that are wrong and I change one item, I'll just go arrow over and say, okay, this is now correct. So I copy, paste special.
Okay.
The reason we do it is if you try to look up off of this formula, it gets all funky. So you have to get the actual formula itself out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of these columns from here over are actually formulas. And it's just formulas pulling in the pieces in the order we need it in our reports. And Jacob is supposed to drag all of these formulas down when he adds new things. He's not always good at it. So sometimes I'll find, like I do a cleanup every once in a while, and I'll find that he's actually missed some of these and didn't drag them all the way down. So I go in and drag it down for the next item. See right
Like
there.
that.
Yep. So that everything pulls in. You might, oh, look, there's a ton that he's added. So then that would, like, even if it found it, it might pull, like if the lookup works, it doesn't matter if none of the information is there, right?
Right.
So I'm just going to fix this while we're looking at it. So there's little nuances, and that's why, like, it's going to take time because you keep finding all these little tricks to fix different things. Oh man, I just messed that up. I'm going to leave this, but now that you see it, you can play around with updating it if you're comfortable.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if it's formulas, it's formulas. You can't really hurt anything on that.
Oh, well, you underestimate me.
I think you underestimate yourself. So okay, that solves that problem, right?
Mhm.
I hope. I said I also noticed the inventory report wasn't updated properly. And so, well, let's stop here. Did you have other questions specifically related to the new sales report?
No, not that I can think of directly. I
Okay.
think I don't have much problem with that.
I think you're getting really
Besides,
good at it. I think it was just getting you access to everything and
right,
being able to play with it.
right.
Okay. So if you do the new sales report first, and you have to, fix all the little pieces in the item master. So generally then once you hop over to the inventory report, you all the item master stuff is fixed. So the lookups come in pretty clean because
Right.
you're using this again. So new sales report. Piece that I noticed is that the numbers weren't updating correctly. And I knew that because we usually have about 3,000 units of home and beauty supplies, and it was coming in at like 2,000 something. And as much as I would have loved to have a week where we sold 1,000 units, I knew that wasn't right. Plus, I've experienced the exact same thing where it doesn't come in for me. The reason I noticed it and I know to check it is because I've had the problems with it. So again, it's a Bright Pearl issue. And so I was actually talking to Charlie about it because I couldn't figure out either. I did the process exactly as I told you to do it. And I was getting the same thing, not enough units. And so what I learned is in Bright Pearl, when we're doing the inventory report, we can't actually just export the inventory summary because Bright Pearl won't export all of the data.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have to do instead is actually copy and paste every single page and append it to the bottom.
Right. Yeah, you told me
Yeah,
about
I
that.
just wanted to touch base on that to see if that makes sense.
Mhm.
This is, and I'll show you a couple things I look at. So the first thing I do, so here's the inventory summary. If you hit export, you may or may not get all the information. Rather than doing that, I do show filter. I want to show 500 rows, 500 results, filter, because that's the most you can show on a page in Bright Pearl. So if I do 500, then that gets me down to only 4 pages I have to copy. So then all I do is it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I just copy here. And then inventory summary. Paste special. And then you just do the next 3 pages of it as well.
Right.
Keep adding down and then do the snapshot date. Sometimes when you paste special, like the first row will come in right, and then all the other ones will be over a column on X, like they jump over. So you just have to move it where it belongs. What I noticed last time I did it that way and I still had issues. And it's because keep an eye on this in stock and these on-hand numbers. Sometimes when you go to the next page, Bright Pearl doesn't upload properly, surprise, surprise, and it'll actually come in with like everything is a 0 on one page. And so then I just have to go up here and rerun it again and try it. It's happened to me like 2 or 3 times, so it's not every time. But if your numbers again look weird, it's probably because Bright Pearl gave you zeros for some weird reason.
How can it be so bad?
Oh, if I knew the answer to that, I would fix it. Instead, we're just going to build our own. Yeah, I've been working with Colin quite a bit on that, so that's been fun. So once you get good data, I feel like you do the rest of this part really well. You get it pulled in right. It looks good. I'm comfortable with that. I don't know if we didn't go through it fully or if it's because you've had troubles with your inventory, like getting this piece done because we just haven't had the right information. But I noticed that last time, the next step, which is in the instructions, the goods in detail, it wasn't, you updated it, like you brought in the information here,
Right.
and you did this page perfectly. That was great. The last step then, though, is this report detail that we have to do. And I don't know that that was done. And there's a couple things that I noticed with it. It's just formulas that you drag down, which is fine. But one of those formulas, so the report detail, basically I'll just go through it real quick so I can say what I saw interesting. So the goods in detail, you have all of that fixed. You did that great. The next step you need to do is go to this goods in pivot, and you actually need to refresh the pivot table. That way you have them all goods in for everything that you've ever added. And then you take the SKU and the sum of received, which is your goods in, how many units you've received in. You copy that over to the report detail, and you paste it. And I always go to the very bottom to make sure that there's no extra junk that doesn't belong down here, if it became shorter or something. So once you paste it here, then the rest of this is all formulas. One of those formulas is on hand. So how many units are on hand at this time? And that formula, if you look at it, hope you learn how to read these formulas. This formula basically says get pivot sheet data, the on-hand number, from the inventory summary pivot. So the piece that I noticed was missing is this inventory summary pivot. You always need to go in and update the snapshot date to the last snapshot date. I think it was sitting at like 525 or 526 or something. So you just have to go to the last one that was there, hit OK, and then be sure that you might have to refresh first to even see the date, but hit refresh and then go in here and click the latest date.
Okay.
Because
I don't think I did that.
Yeah, because it's pulling from this. So not like a huge deal, and maybe I wasn't clear on that in the instructions, quite possibly. So once you get that done, then all you do is drag your formulas down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the inventory report is actually the one I'm most comfortable with, because the way I think of it is I get one report, I append it here, formulas, inventory summary, refresh, show it to the most recent date, which is the day you ran it. Then you go to the goods in, append data, formulas.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the goods in pivot, refresh. And then all you have to do is copy this information to the report detail and then formulas. And if you do the steps in that order, everything runs seamlessly to the point where if you're ever concerned about if your inventory numbers are right, you go to this report pivot tab, and I'll clean it up so when you run it on Sunday, it's in an easy way to look at it. The best way I know, if my numbers are right, is that I should have on hand, on hand should be about 2,000-ish. It'll fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
3,000 for home, and around 3,500 for fashion.
Okay.
So if all of a sudden you see like only 2,000 or 1,000 in home, probably not right. Fashion numbers change significantly, probably not right. So all you have to do is hit refresh, and it'll grab whatever the data was here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on one second. I've got to step over. There's a weird noise. It's driving me crazy. Okay, sorry.
It might sound silly, but I can't. Last time we did this, I can't get over the fact that you said you may have sold a few $20 toothbrushes. Like, why would you have a $20 toothbrush?
The fact that it costs $20?
Yes.
Yeah. The funny thing is that I didn't even think about that anymore, but the first time I heard about it, I thought the exact same thing. You should go spend like 15 minutes, if even that. I don't know if I've spent 15 minutes at a time on the site, but if you go to home, watch that.
I buy $2 toothbrushes. I don't know about you.
That's the only no. It's I've got to find it. I don't know. It's like one of our cheapest items, and it's $20. And it is one of our biggest selling things. We sell hundreds of them
Because it's one of your cheapest.
Yeah, because people can say that they bought something from the line, and then you find out it's like it's the cheapest thing they could afford. Look, these brass scissors, $20. They sold like crazy too. People really like those.
They're very handsome scissors.
$10 clip. Yeah, so some of this is just kind of entertaining. But there's a toothbrush in here. I don't know where, but it sells really well for $20.
Well, then you guys are doing something right.
Exactly. So we got our market. I don't understand them, but it works for it. Let's see here. Gotta shut this door. Okay. So you either pulled the Brightory inventory with export, which doesn't work now, or the pivot table needs to be updated with the last date that you ran it, which I showed you.
Yeah, it's probably that because I copied and pasted. I'm almost positive.
Yep, I think that's exactly what it was too. So just update that 2 seconds. You're good. Email reports. I got you access. Do you feel like you have access to both of those things, or do you just want me to peek at both of them to make sure?
No, I have access to
You're
them.
good on those? Okay. Yeah. And then on email history, we need to update revenue numbers from Google Analytics. Did I show you that when we talked about editorial?
Update revenue numbers from Google Analytics. I believe so.
I think so too. That was where on the email report, actually, let me just pull up the email report. We did it for the editorial. I don't know how. You can tell me to stop if I have. So this is the one where you dump all of your data on top of it, right? You just replace everything, carry it over, bring down your formulas. Mm-hmm. And one of the formulas in here is this revenue. And what the formula says is look up this column, which is the campaign name, in this tab, mm-hmm. and pull in the revenue amount. So if you go to this GA campaign export, so we actually look up this, which is the UTM campaign name, which this is the campaign name. Mm-hmm. This is how it comes through in MailChimp. This is how it comes through in Google Analytics. So we're basically making the two of them talk to each other. So every week, I go to the pivot table and refresh it after running all the reports. If there is a subject line that I pull in that has NA in the revenue, that means it's not looking up properly. I only care for 2015. If it's 2014, I'm not doing it. So it's usually like the last email that we sent. So I just copy the name of the email, paste it to the bottom here, and then you run this GA campaign export report out of Google Analytics, and the instructions are in our Monday morning meeting under the MailChimp instructions.
Right.
So you run that, you paste the data here, and then you find the email that matches on the Google Analytics side, which I already did this one here. When you do that, the rest of the formulas will update and you'll have numbers pop in. Does that make sense? Or did I skip too much?
Yeah, no, I think you have already gone through that. Anyway.
Okay, great. Were there other things that you are having issues on with this?
I don't believe so. But then again, you're the one that has to look at my mistakes.
Those are the things that I saw. That's why I kind of outlined them, not to tell you everything you're doing wrong as much as let's talk so that we can, figure it out together. So Don't ever take it the other way.
No. You're a very kind person, I have to tell you. Every time you find a mistake I'm making, you're like, I don't know if I explained it right.
Because I know that I kind of jump around a lot. So I'm not like thorough sometimes, so I understand.
Well, you're very nice.
Well, thank you. I think the other thing that you had asked about is invoicing. And
yes, how did you want me to do that?
Yeah. So let me show you an example of an invoice. It doesn't matter really. Have you ever invoiced anyone for anything?
I can do it through QuickBooks, but I don't have my own QuickBooks, so.
Don't worry about it. Don't do it that professional. Like you really, if you do like an Excel spreadsheet that you track your hours every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the bottom it calculates the total hours. You times it by the $20 we agreed to, and it says total due.
Right.
That's really all I need.
Okay.
And let me just show you somewhat. This is a fancier one, but to give you an idea of it, as long as it says the days you worked and the hours, and it gives me a total to pay you with your contact information, that's all I need.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, then I can just do that through like you said, a Google. Well, actually, you know, there's one that I was using with John I can use.
Was it Expensify?
No, it's just a pre-made Excel sheet it worked fine.
Oh yeah, then use the same thing, but address it to the line. Say
Okay.
that the line needs to pay you.
Okay.
And just send it to myself and John, and then we'll take care of it. And you can do that every 2 weeks. You can do it monthly. It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay. Yeah, no, that
We're doing hourly. Good.
works for me.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
So I am not, I may or may not be online or available at times Sunday, so you can try and reach out, but I'm not guaranteeing you anything.
Well, I'm gonna do my very best not to bother you on Sunday because you've got your.
Well, and my goal is to get up early Monday and actually update my Monday morning report, where I pull in everything. If you got super ambitious, do not feel like you need to do this, and don't spend a lot of time on it. But if no, because I need to show you the pivot tables and how they work. Never mind. Yeah, so get those reports done. If you email me once they're done, just to let me know if there is anything that should be flagged or that you're concerned about or want me to look at. I'm going to update my Monday morning report on Monday morning. So as long as I have the stuff then, it's okay. And then sometime Monday, I don't know what your schedule's like, but if you could do the editorial report, if you have time available on Monday.
Yeah, I'll probably Monday I'll be working at John's doing some manual labor until
you have so many different talents over here.
I have. Well, it's actually kind of, okay, I work for John and then I work at the park and then I do multiple different things for John. And then Jeff has me doing stuff he wants to do, but that's not very well organized. And so
it never will be.
Yeah. And so Jeff gets frustrated and I'm like, you got to realize I'm juggling 3 lives here. I'm not I don't.
Yeah, no, I think what the conversation you're going to have eventually because the two of them will pull you in 50 different directions.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to say, I can only manage these things within these, I need structure around this.
Right.
And figure out if that is you work at John's from, 3 hours on XYZ day, and that's it. And that's when he has you. And then you have your other schedule for your other stuff. And then at some point the conversation.
I think things will get much easier after, because did he tell you about the fact they're gonna build the barn into a small apartment type thing?
Yeah, are you helping with that?
I'm going to. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna be helping build that with a friend of mine. But I think after I'm actually out there, I'm almost positive I'm just gonna end up quitting this job here. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't.
Yeah, once you can, and then balance all of that.
Yeah, and then I just have to figure out when to do, or schedule when to do Jeff and John's stuff, and I'll be there anyway. So
yeah, exactly. So if it's like you do 4 hours of this and then 4 hours of that, or you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday one thing, Tuesday, Thursday's another thing, or whatever they need.
Right. But see, these reports are so structured, and I know exactly when I need to do them and everything, so I don't have trouble doing them.
You've got to tell, just from my own personal experience, with John, I'll get 80 million things thrown at me from him and what I do. And I don't know how it would work for you at this point, but just so you can start thinking about it, is when I have a lot of stuff at once, I'm like, John, we need to take a step back. And I actually write out an email. I'm like, these are all of the things on my plate. I need to prioritize them and know what stuff I do now and what stuff to hold off on. And then that makes him give structure to what is important and what needs to be managed and where you can hold off on stuff.
Yeah, no, John's really I think John's easier to work with than Jeff. Jeff gets frustrated kind of easily.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
You know that Jeff was the one that I worked with for the first.
Oh, right.
2 months, because he was running all the finances for the line, and then they hired me, and John was still at his other job, so Jeff and I were the two working together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sent me yesterday me and John, this thing saying how he was frustrated that we weren't getting stuff done as quickly as he'd like, and the stuff, like one thing he asked me to open a file for QuickBooks. They had exported a company.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to open this file and run a couple of reports, which wouldn't be a problem, except when the only copy of QuickBooks I had that was desktop was QuickBooks 2009. And when I try to open it with QuickBooks 2009, it tells me there's a password on it. And if you put in the wrong password or you put in nothing, it says failed to unencrypt, which what else am I going to think except that there's a password on it and I can't open it, right?
Yeah. And did you follow up with him and tell him that?
I did. I told him, I said, look, there's a password on this file. I'm using QuickBooks 2009, so I don't know if that's the issue, but there seems to be a password on it. He talked to the guy and got what he thought might be the password. And then he got mad when he found out later that apparently there wasn't a password. It just had something to do with the version of QuickBooks I was using. And I was like, how would I know? Like, if it told me there was a password, how would I know that it wasn't a password?
Yeah. I don't know how you're gonna manage that one.
I think I just have to realize that Jeff gets frustrated and they just accept it.
I would go ahead and not take his reactions personally, because he will. He's gonna throw it at you, I guess, but don't take it in any way, and know when you can and cannot push back. But he's an interesting one to kind of manage and work with. So good luck on that part. If you ever need to vent or ask questions, though, I've got experience with both of them, so I can be honest. And it's nothing I wouldn't say to them in anyways. So it's not like. Oh
yeah, and he knows he's very self-aware.
Exactly. That's I was gonna say he will never deny that that's the situation.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, just send your invoice. I'll get something paid. Do the Sunday night reports and then editorial on Monday if time allows. If not, just shoot me an email and let me know so that I can make sure that I do it on my time this week.
Okay. Yep. I'll invoice you I'll send you and John my hours for the week later today.
And just make sure the invoice calculates the hours and then it also says how much we owe dollar-wise.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah, no problem. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye.